Deck building in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like an art, an outlet for creativity, mathematics, innovations, and logic. And I pride myself on my cutting-edge, methodical, and synergistic deck building. However, crafting a well-designed deck is not an easy feat to accomplish, and many duelists come to me seeking help to salvage the train wreck that is their deck. So on Decklist Nightmares, you can submit your deck lists to me, and each week I'll review 3 abominable deck lists and attempt to transform those monstrosities into an efficient and cohesive deck list. Welcome to Decklist Nightmares. Now before we begin, I want to remind you guys we're on the Jesse Cotton Highlights channel, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to catch all the further updates of this series and some of the best moments from my stream. As well as if you're interested in submitting your own deck list, you can do so with the link in the description. And lastly, this is supposed to be a play on Kitchen Nightmares by Gordon Ramsay. So while I will be providing real advice, I'll also do so in a pretty brutal fashion, how you may see Gordon do on, say, Hell's Kitchen.
It's a bit like your brain. Not only is it shrunk, but it's disappeared.
So remember, this is all for the sake of entertainment, and I'm not trying to be vicious for the sake of destroying somebody's ego. And if you're going to submit your deck list, be prepared it could happen to you. With that said, let's have some fun and fix some deck lists. Alright guys, welcome back to Decklist Nightmares. Another week of you guys torturing me with the worst possible decks ever conceived. And I'm excited to see what nonsense I have to put up with today. We had some cool ones last time though, I will admit. If you haven't watched last episode, I recommend you go do that because we got to see this Inferno Tempest deck, which I thought was super cool. But I have low expectations because that is like the first time I had a deck and thought that was sick. Every other time it's I want to hold my head and I'm like, what did I sign up for? Anyways, let's get into today and see what decks we have going for us. All right, first up, we got Mr. Dyer VT, who submitted Vax. Like anti-vax or vaccinations? No, there's a K in it. V-A-K-S. Voiceless Azamina Kashtira something. Fiendsmith. Why is the Fiendsmith an S? Voiceless Azamina Kashtira Fiendsmith kind of sounds like someone who like just built a lot of decks and couldn't decide what they liked and said, I just want to mix it all together. Not advisable, because when you lack direction, they'll draw hands of like Ritual Monster plus Lurdy plus like Birth, and you'll look like a complete tool. But that being said, every one of these like weird combination decks that mix things together starts off like a crazy idea like this. Like Fiendsmith Snake Eye, it's not intuitive, even if it is, to mix those together. So I'll give this a bit of hope. Let's read it. You wanted to drown out the voiceless bricks by, oh my god. When you start off your deck intro with, I want to drown out the bricks, you're making your deck sound like it's full of bricks. And it sounds like it is. May I advise you to maybe just not play bricks? Is that a novel idea? Worthwhile for you? So you drown out the voiceless bricks by including archetypes that provide a free level 7 for ritual fodder, while providing its own line of play when drawn. Also, Diviner plus Deception is illegal. Okay, so the synergy there is Diviner of the Heralds plus Deception, which tributes a monster to add the Hallowed Azamina. Deception, or the Diviner, will then trigger, and when you do that, it also means Diviner doesn't have to send Trias, so it can send Arclight instead. That is pretty cool. That's a cool synergy. That gets my stamp of approval. However, I don't like the fact that you said the synergy is having a free level 7 body, as if that's remotely really the problem that Voiceless has. You could already have played Kashtira cards in Voiceless, but Voiceless has problems. There are many, but one of them is that it can't go playing second very well, so playing more going first cards, like Kashtira, which are in essence going first cards, doesn't help it that much. Your biggest wonder, how minimal should the Voiceless engine be? Bracket 1 Skull, 1 Sarvis, 1 Prayers, no Old Man. And if you should cut the cash cards to try a play in the 40 to 50 card range. Wow, you read my mind. Yeah, the cash card sounds not good. Thanks, big fan. You're coming to this channel, this series, for me to obliterate your deck with the brutal, cold, honest truth. So I'm gonna throw your dreams against the wall and splatter them. It makes me feel bad, you know? It makes me wonder, like, is that really the right thing to do? But fuck it, we do it anyways. Gonna crack my knuckles. Oh, let's roast this person. Okay, so here is our Voiceless Azamina Cash Fiendsmith deck. Fiendsmith? Bro's calling this a Fiendsmith deck, and it contains 2 Fiendsmith cards. That's like saying it's a Molcharmy deck because you have 3 Fuelos. Looks good, ship it. Okay, so initial instincts is at least we're playing mostly good ratios, right? There's no bizarre 2-ofs drowning out the deck. From the initial glance, it looks clean. 18 non-engine, sure. I think not playing Nibiru is kind of criminal. I think that as non-engine is really good right now. When you pair it along other stuff, it's pretty good. And its biggest downfall is when you can't use your engine because you control a monster. Guess which deck actually gets a benefit from controlling monsters? Both Fiendsmith and the Azamina cards and the Voiceless cards, with Nibiru being a light. What I will say though is your Kashtira cards struggle there. And that brings us back to the question of Kashtira, right? I already talked about going in. I was like, the Kashtira cards make no fucking sense. I'm not a fan of those in Voiceless at all. And looking at the synergy here, let's try and wrap our head around what the Kashtira cards provide. They provide you a met way of getting towards the Fiendsmith cards. Fiendsmith cards, by the way, also don't contribute that much. But then beyond that, what else do they do for you? Let's see. They give you level 7s for when you have Saphira. The Kashtira cards, my problem with them as a whole is they're fake good going second. They are playable. You're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel with cards that have the facade of occasionally getting another body or banishing card face down, but in reality, Fenrir is not actually that good into a lot of fields. It's not going to cut it. I don't like relying on that as my ability to go second. In fact, it really is more so just an average engine card. I'd rather have a more powerful engine card to do more heavy lifting. Beyond that, though, the other application the Kashtira cards have is that you normal summon Diabellstar without tributing. I'm not like that concerned about that. And you have other normal summons in the deck anyway, so it's not like you are starved for normal summons, and that synergy is really that impactful. My kind of understanding would be you take those cards out. And now, I think the real synergy you want to focus on here is this. It's the Deception and the Diviner, right? This is how these type of babies are born. You know, human babies are born when a mommy and a daddy have some fun, but a Yu-Gi-Oh combo deck, the baby is formed when you get a good synergy, and a good synergy from 2 different archetypes, and those mix together, and then you blossom from there. So you got a mommy deck and a daddy deck, and they make their combo baby. And the combo baby here is Diviner and Deception. It's Diviner the mommy and Deception's the daddy. From that, we look for the deck. I think the Kashtira cards are wait, that's how babies are made? That's how combo babies are made. That's how we made Danger Thunder and Danger Tear. We took a Tsuchinoko and we mixed it with a Kikalos. But okay, the jokes aside, that's what I want to focus on. I want to focus on that synergy because that's where I think you do want to be. And then from there, we were expanding upon that. The Deception gives you the ability to access more link bodies. So that way, Fiendsmith cards can now turn into, you can turn into Fiendsmith cards, and now Fiendsmith cards can progress your gameplay here. So the Fiendsmith cards do seem like a natural progression. However, in your need for looking for more cards to tribute, right? Because you get to the problem of you get to a higher deck count, and then what you find is, okay, maybe now you're not drawing monsters enough alongside your Saphira to make it live. I think that the Fiendsmith cards actually fix this issue if you play more Fiendsmith cards instead of Kashtira cards. Fiendsmith cards are obviously phenomenal right now. They're very good in grind games. They can carry games by themselves. They can grind, put up negates. They can insulate your plays from Imperm. They're good into fields, right? Because Requiem with Engraver is solid into hitting stuff, as well as the pressures up bodies with Desiree and Igmunde. All very good. Notice no Igmunde in here either. So, but what it also can do is provide you tribute fodder. So it may not seem obvious what to do with the tribute fodder, but if you open up Engraver, you can go Engraver into Tract. Tract Lurie Requiem, Lacrima, send Engraver. Then you go Engraver, shuffle back Lurie, summon out Sequence. Shuffle back Engraver, Requiem, and another Engraver, leaving just the Lacrima Engrave. Then you can go Igmunde with the Sequence and the Desiree, and Igmunde back the Desiree. Now, while that's done there, it's given you the ritual fodder needed, the levels, to make this Skull Guardian, while also putting a Lacrima in the grave with an Igmunde. So on their turn now, use Lacrima to revive the Igmunde and recycle the Desiree again. So it's going to establish Desiree which is what you want, while also establishing the tribute fodder needed if you drew a hand of all hand traps. So it bridges that aspect of the engine together if you needed to, and if not, it's still fine. As well as you can also put an Necroquip into the combo there, and if you have Saphira, you get a draw during the combo with the Necroquip. So you actually get to convert pretty handily. And obviously at that stage, you are also checking for Nibiru, so it ends up being very convenient. And that's obviously if you have no witches or anything else. So that feels pretty good. So my inclination is to rather scrap the Kashtira cards. I feel like they do very little. And Fiendsmith cards also give you tribute fodder off of the Deceptions. It gives you discards for Divalster because you can send the Requiem again or Sequence or whatever. And it also gives you tribute fodder. So I think I would play more Fiendsmith cards or anything. So I'd go up to like double tracked, triple engraver, and then call it there. And now because you're actually playing light monsters, you can play pre-prep in your deck as a viable option. I do agree though that in order to keep the bricks down, I would cut the old man. I think old man is kind of shit. You can remove him from the strategy altogether and really not that much is lost. Now after that, Shangri era, obviously. The next thing I want to incorporate is Bestials. I think they're really good this format, and they pan up the Fiendsmith game plan very well. They're not the most synergistic with these at all, but you can make rank 6s maybe with Diviner and Arclight, and that could be cool. Not that rank 6s for now are particularly powerful, but Lars might be a somewhat valuable option. The only other thing that's worth talking about is this trap card here. So this deck should already thrive going first. If you want more cards going first, then Morian is fine, because what you do with it is you search it off Witch. Or you can search it off of the Mu Arcielago. And pretty much when you have the not typical Deception line, you have to do it a bit out of the ordinary. You'll have the extra search to get the extra body. And yes, this is like a free disruption. However, it's another brick for going first. Well, it's not a brick when he goes first. It's a brick when you go second. Bad going second. It's a card that's bad going second, and it's not great going first either, because it's the Book of Moon. You draw it, and like you don't really want to draw Book of Moon. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth playing this card? I'm not sold on it. It obviously is a free card to search, and it is good, but your turn one should be powerful enough anyways, at a first glance, that I wouldn't bother with this. And you can say the same thing for in Paradise, right? Fiendsmith in Paradise. Those are both cards you could side or play even, depending on how much more you want to bolster your turn one, but I'm not sure you need to. So yeah, I would, this middle row here, take up these 10 cards, throw in, probably take out the Ogres as well. I don't like Ogre right now that much either. Play some more Fiendsmith cards, play pre-preps, Nibirus, and then if I fit some Bestials and a small package of Bestials, get it back to 60, cut the white man, or the old white man. And I think we have a deck. And the concept is not actually that far-fetched. We are exploring this synergy. Now, the problem is obviously this... Oh, Prosperity should be in your 100% actually as well. Prosperity is an easy inclusion because it gets you closer to combo pieces or non-engine, whatever you need. This is a rather straightforward deck to fix because it goes off a legitimate synergy. The ratios make most sense. And there's only small fixes to be made that will kind of, you have to dictate based on how you're... not bricking, but on what you need. If you need more power going first, or if you need more consistency going second, more non-engine, that's how you're going to dictate whether you need the cards like Morian, Paradise. And then non-engine will obviously fluctuate across the formats, but the rest of it should be pretty easy going. Solid deck. As disgusting it is to sound, to throw random decks together and, you know, make it like into a nothing pile, this works just fine. So we're not going to bash this unnecessarily. All right, so that was the first deck. We got Vax, and that was pretty good, pretty straightforward. Really wasn't Abomination at all. Rather novel concept. The only problem with playing a deck like that, though, is by nature of having to run a 60-card deck, or the broken synergy of Diviner plus Deception doesn't happen that often. If you could bring it closer to 40, that'd be nice, but that type of deck needs to play hand traps, especially in this format as well. Let's go on to the next one. All right, next up we got Ryu-Ge Diva by Collab Bills. He says, using Ryu-Ge monsters with Deep Sea Diva to make level 12 synchros. Okay, interesting. That's all they said, so we're going in blind. What the fuck? Okay, I don't know if I was prepared for the salt on my eyes that just happened right now. You know, the first thing that I saw glaring at me was this sword. You know, this is like a cursed sword. Takusano Shinkyojin. I couldn't even tell you the name. If y'all know this card, this was a secret rare from Duelist Nexus. And my god, did pulling this card in your packs feel gross because it was so bad. So that means, it's just surprising because now that means seeing it in my deck, or in a deck period, I question. I'm like, what went wrong here? Now, I understand the Ryu-Ge cards are 10s. You want to cycle those out because drawing these cards suck. So it makes sense you want to discard a draw too, but I don't know, man. Like, it's so bad into Ash. With that being said, this deck is weak to Ash, so having a card that baits Ash may not be the worst thing. Now, why is this deck weak to Ash? Well, it's because the entire deck revolves around resolving Sosei Ryu-Ge Diva, which will pop itself into Pen Zone to add the field spell War Zone, which will then search 3 cards, but then also special 3 from the deck pretty much, if you have Mistva in the extra deck. Couple immediate problems with this deck. Before you say, wow, this looks kind of clean. He only plays 2 ups of engine requirements. He plays 3 ups for the most part. It lacks some bits of deck knowledge. For example, note how I said this deck is weak to Ash Blossom. Guess what card stops Ash Blossom and it's not included here? Almost bafflingly not included anywhere in this entire deck. Not even the side. Called by the freaking grave. Not even cross out. Not even cross out. Call by. Call by. That's like a branded deck saying I'm weak to Ash and then playing no outs to Ash Blossom. And I'm telling you, it's literally the same thing. This deck has a crippling weakness to Ash on Mistva. It's bad. It's really bad. So not playing Call By to me is straight up criminal. Cross out, I can understand, eats away at your engine or non-engine spots. And then also it's weird because it only reflects the engine you have or the non-engine you have at your disposal. But Call By should be like the first non-engine card you put into a Ryu-Ge deck. It should not even be close. I can't fathom not including it. And Call By is just good in other applications, hitting Fiendsmith card, hitting Eclipse Twins, hitting other hand traps. It's like, how? Now, the next thing that alarms me is this one fucking engraver in here. Why is there one engraver in here? But you're locked into... Okay, let's read this card. Also, when this card's activated, take 1 Dino, Sea Serpent, and Worm, add 1, banish 1, and dump 1. Also, you cannot special rest the turn except Dragon, Dino, Sea Serpent, and Worms. Once we resolve our combo, get bodies in the field, we can't use engraver. What's the game plan then? You tell me. The essential only way this deck gets to engraver is with Diva, which means we've decided the whole point of this deck is to summon level 12 Synchros with Diva, which means searching off the field spell and normal summoning it. But instead, with the Diva, let's normal summon it first, play bricks in our deck and extra deck, get to Caesar, and then use the Ryu-Ge card. What was the point of this whole thing then? Not plan B engraver, because you can't do it plan B. You have to do it first. And that's the point. You can't pivot into engraver like with other decks. It has to be the thing you do first. And you know, you could take my Crystal Beast deck as an example. In the Crystal Beast deck, I needed a way for Nib. I needed an answer for Nib. I didn't need an answer for Nib. So I wanted to include engraver and Caesar. Now, first thing, my Crystal Beast deck, it does not lock me out of Fiendsmith cards at any point. So I can do them at any points in the combo. But I added 1 engraver, and I'm like, wait, this card sucks to draw. I don't want to draw it. So there's an easy solution. You add a 2nd engraver, and then you add 1 Sanct. This means now, instead of having 1 brick, you have 3 live cards. 3. It requires 2 more cards in your deck, but it goes from having literal bullshit in your deck to a live engine. And considering I see garbage brick, garbage brick, garbage brick, garbage brick, garbage brick after garbage brick in this deck, and that is the nature of Ryu-Ge, which is so frustrating. You cannot commit to more bricks in this deck. You need consistency. And on the topic of consistency, we're not even playing them any ways to Mistva. You're playing Mistva and Rising. There's no Small World, there's no Melody, there's no Incantation package, there's no Prosperity either. This seems like a deck that was built on the concept of Diva, make level 12 Synchros, make Crimson Dragon, and what does this do? Stop destroyed by Dinos you control. This card is destroyed. This card's fucking awful. Wow, this card is terrible. So you just make this and you just make 2 Crimson Dragons? No, you can't. I guess you have to make this because you need a level 12. Well, yeah, oh god, you just have to make a level 12. But this entire deck was built on this terrible synergy of summoning out a Blazar Dragon. Which, by the way, looking at it, this just looks worse than making Varadrus and Protoss locking. It's like you didn't actually think through it at all. You didn't include consistency cards. You didn't include cards to cover your weaknesses. You have a half-baked strategy because you're covering with the engraver instead of the divas to make synchros. It's like you submitted a deck that you came up with an idea for, didn't actually build it, threw random cards in, and then said, Jesse, I'm too lazy, do it for me. Fuck you, do it yourself. At least put thought into it. This is not thoughtful deck building. Yeah, there's 3 ofs, not 2 ofs, but by the same metric, if there's all 3 ofs in a deck, that might not be an example of actual thought out deck building. It might just be lazy deck building, putting max copies of everything they can in. Because that's what this looks like. And what the hell is this? What the hell is this Assault Synchron? How is this searchable? There's no tunings in the deck. There's no search cards for this. It's a fucking machine. It's not a Sea Serpent or anything. You can't even summon it afterwards. While it's in the monster zone as an extender, you can't even link with it. You can't even turn it into Engraver. Like, do you want to draw it or not? Why is it a 1-of? This deck is a complete Rotten Tomato failure. Every aspect of the deck seems to be kind of falling apart at the seams the closer you look at it. This is one of those decks where you look at it once and you say, all right, I can get the concept and you understand it. But the more you poke and look, the more the facade crumbles and you see the skeleton of garbage that lies beneath. There's an important principle I talk about constantly in deck building, and it's problem-solving deck building. And so you can see it's not being incorporated, not even at a basic level. It's identifying your problems in the deck, the weaknesses, whether it be consistency, certain cards, building around it. And this deck's clear problems are choke points in Ash and consistency. It's like the person who built this deck didn't ever play the deck. They built it and never once dueled with it, because they would see those problems almost immediately when they dueled, and they should be putting in cards to remedy that issue. So I'm not going to address that aspect any further, but as for the concept itself, being able to add Diva with the field spell and make level 12 synchros sounds good, but in reality, there's nothing good to make. If we look in the database, let's look for synchros that are level 12, and they have to be one of the correct types. Otherwise, we won't be able to summon it. So yeah, we can't summon any of these. That's not going to be possible. Oh, we play Centurion cards. Why is he not playing Auxilla? I know it's bricky, but if I really wanted this concept to work, you can go Centurion Auxilla instead of that weird Dino shit. Instead of this card, search a Phalanx and have another form of disruption, and then Crimson Dragon that into Blazar. And that's the combo. Now, as far as Ryu-Ge goes, you can do better stuff with probably the same amount or less bricks. What was mentioned a lot is the Worm version with Sword Soul cards, because you can add either the Worm, the Sea Serpent, or the Dino. You have flexibility. You just told him to add another brick. I know I said that, but at least that one makes sense. He's searchable. He's going through his entire combo just to end on one Omni Negative. Maybe you get to resolve Mistva as well, pop a couple cards. But if you're adding Diva, that means you're not adding Protos. I'd rather fucking add Protos. Man, Deep Sea Diva and Ryu-Ge deck goes hard. Gonna have to try that. Bro, we just screamed into the void for 10 minutes. How it literally, it's fake. It doesn't actually accomplish anything. Because every level 12 synchro doesn't make sense to make. It's nothing good. I'd rather just make Vardress and then search Protos. It's just, it looks cool, but it's a nothing burger. It's just worse than every alternative. If you're really committed to this bit, then yeah, I'd go Auxilla, because that's the only way of maximizing value. And yes, I know it's a brick. I did just say avoid bricks, but you have to make the concept work at the base level before anything else. If the concept doesn't work at a very core concept, then the entire thing is doomed to fail. And that's disregarding every other issue I've addressed already. I am curious to see what the Ryu-Ge decks you guys come up with, though, because Ryu-Ge is a flexible archetype. The fact that it searches and dumps 4 or 3 different types, and then sets up XYZ plays and synchro plays rather malleably, is cool. And I already know that I have a bunch of other Ryu-Ge decks on this list, and we'll get to those in future episodes. But I'm excited to look at them because I think this is one of the most underexplored archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. And I wish I had more time myself to put into understanding them. This idea, though, in my opinion, is a failure, and I would not be going after this. I'd stick to the classic one, Dinos and Sword Soul or Tennies for now. But I do long for the day that maybe we can get something cool out of this, because there is something in Ryu-Ge cards. If you're not feeling these cards, go read them. They're a bit long-winded and they're kind of complicated because there's like 4 different effects in all of them, and all the effects kind of suck. But this card is everything. Warzone is just like one of the best cards in the game. So, and obviously when your entire deck revolves around one single playable card like Brand Infusion, that means being weak to disruption. But the potential is there, because despite that, for Branded, the deck exists and it thrives in some formats, and it has. So seeing that potential for Ryu-Ge, keep a keen eye on it. But right now, I'm good. All right, last deck. Let's take a look. Poly99 submitted Ojamas. If you've watched this channel before, you know that I fucking love Ojamas. Now that deck is a pile of shit. I'm happy to admit that. They have some cool tools under their belt. You know, Ojama Blue is a great card. Oja Match, Oja Simulation, and Oja Magic are all high value, but the required number of bricks is rough. It's rough out here. So I'm excited to see if there's anything cool here. I hope it's not just a generic Ojama ABC deck, but this is a deck I actually love, so I'm excited. This is by Apawali99. Just don't know which engine to use to summon Mud Dragon to consistently summon Ojama fusions. I mean Muddy Mud Dragon, okay, and have some extenders in the first turn. I don't know what that means. They kind of just said nothing there. They need extenders. So the goal is to summon Muddy Mud Dragon. I assume that develops into Ojama King, but you have to set up 2 other things alongside it for that to be even remotely viable. All right, let's open this up. I don't even recognize some of these cards. This is a 40 card deck, and it's an OCG deck because this is not a card that exists in Master or TCG, nor this card. Let's refresh ourselves real quick. This is Spoon, the Seal of Magistus. Discard this card to activate one of these effects. Add a Magistus monster connect to your hand. Have the attack monster when it controls. Banish this card from your grave, target to face up, monster control, and equip with the Magistus. That's pretty good. Crowley. This card is used as fusion material. Be Alistair. This card to add to your hand except by drawing special this card. This card is normal special summon. You can fusion summon Magistus or invoked by using monsters. Okay. Then Zoroa says you can equip Magistus to itself pretty much, and then when it's equipped, special level 4 spell cast from your hand and grave. You're equipping Artemis to it, which says if another Magistus is normal special summoned while you control this monster, you can add a Magistus. So the idea is to get multiple Magistus cards equipped, right? What does this one do? And then you summon the new one, Chorizo. And then Chorizo, you'll synchro for Muddy Mud Dragon. And then this plus 2 Ojamas equals Ojama King. So these are a vehicle of synchro summoning Muddy Mud Dragon. That's what we have to take away from this. Is that even good? We're going through all that effort to summon a fusion setup, but then we're not making Dragoon. We're making fucking Ojama King. And the worst part about Ojama King is you need Ojama Knight next to it, or it may as well not exist. This seems not great, because this entire elaborate sequence of events, it sets up half of a combo, which means you've set up one combo, which is only half of a combo, if that makes sense. You're missing the right nut here. Like, this is half-baked. Because where do you go from there? And you can see that they know they're missing stuff, because then they go and put in fusion gates to do the rest of the legwork in fusion summoning. What I don't like as well is playing 2 Oja Magic, which is, this is a card you either build your entire deck around, or it's not worth the cut. Because this deck, or this card, when it resolves, is it a plus? Nice. However, it requires 3 bricks, and sometimes more, because if you want to make sure it's always live, because it has to search all 3, play multiples of each. I'm not a huge fan of that, but even if you do, and you're playing 2 of each, that is 6 bricks in your deck. 6! Not even maximizing on our payoff. That's criminal. Or equating this to other terms, that's like playing the shit horse monsters, and then going, I'll only play 2 Himseti. And no, it's at 3, but I'll play 2. Before I say, oh, maybe it's a budget thing. What rarity is this? Should be a common, right? And in Mashville as well, I'm pretty sure it's common. It is not hard to get. We talked about the Ojama country. I don't even know where to go. What does this do again? This card is, if you special summon level 5 or higher dragon monster, you can summon this card from your hand. If this card is summoned, you can make its attribute one of your banished dragons. If this card is sent to the grave, target dragon against 1,000 attack. This is terrible. Why is this in here? Oh, it's an armed dragon search of Oja match. Okay, sure. But like, these cards just don't have synergies together. Here I was hoping I'd have some revolutionary Ojama deck presented to me that would do something new, innovative, and bring Ojama to the forefront of creativity. Instead, we have something new, but it's a new, fresh, steaming, heaping pile of Ojama shit. And just look at Ojama Black. We all know those are some nasty shits. We got some diarrhea coming up there. That's what this is. Like, look at this deck. It has literally zero non-engine. It has no flexibility in any regards in that way. And this is a 40 card deck. There's no Maxi, there's no Ash, nothing. You'd think at the very least there'd be a cohesive combo, but there just isn't. There's nothing. It's like a Ojama deck from 15 years ago, where you're hoping to draw the right combination of your 5 engine cards in your 40 engine card deck that summons Ojama King and Ojama Knight. It's the exact same. It hasn't aged in 15 years. It just has new garbage tools to make Muddy Mud Dragon. All Muddy Mud Dragon is, literally all it is polymerization. The entire sequence here that looks fancy is just polymerization. And I don't have to tell you, putting 15 Ojamas in a deck with polymerization doesn't fucking do anything. That's why I've gone to the lengths I've had when building this deck to play the ABC version, to play the Paleo version with Necrofusion and Proxy F, because you need to have a more eloquent and supported game plan. This is not enough of a backbone for the Ojama deck to rest upon. And that's beyond the fact it was 2 blues, which is again criminal, one of the best cards in the deck, not a true Ojama fan. 2 pink, this card is fucking horrible. It's not even on the name of Ojama Magic. You've chosen to add 2 bricks to your deck. It's not fusion material, it's not searchable, it's just bad. It's not it. What is this going to do? A fusion monster enter your grave this turn, special 1 infusions back. Why are you playing this, and why just 1? Do you want to draw it or not? You want to search it? How are you searching it? This into this, into, wait, it can't even summon that, right? No, it can't. 8 or lower. So this and so this into this, into this, into this. But then how do you get the knight on the field? You have to already get these in play? Like at that point, play horse cards, right? Make this a 60 card deck. Cut the fucking bullshit out of here like pink. Focus on resolving magic. And then you get to go vampire, fill the grave, or like go proxy F, fuse for knight, then Muddragon Albion, fuse for king. Because I don't know what else you can do. This is all just not sensical. This is a failure. More so than Ryu-Ge. I don't know. I don't even know how to fix this. The horror suggestions are so like primitive. Like, what do you do past that? Ojama Duo is like a good card if you put discard outlets in, but it can't even go to be used the effect that turning goes to the grave. This is the reason I played it in Paleo. So you want to go first and set this up, but you want to go second and use this. You don't want to draw this period. You're playing 2 of these. So you want to draw it, I guess. You play a shit ton of normal summons. There's only 6, I guess, but I mean, it's 8. Can't. Ojama Country requires setup. It's not even the great payoff. I fold. You got me. You broke my brain. This one is not salvageable. You tried, you failed. Decks need to have a more concrete combo line that is obvious. It needs to be able to do so in a contained fashion, so you can still have space for non-engine, unless your engine is good enough at going second into fields, and a wide array of fields at that. It needs to make sure your engine can play through disruption like hand traps as well, which oftentimes is synonymous with being able to go second to some degree. And then make sure you're not opening yourself to very obvious choke points all alongside your combo. This deck has none of that. It doesn't have a fully fleshed out combo. It doesn't have invulnerability. It doesn't have push. It doesn't have consistency. It doesn't have non-engine. It has nothing. And then after you've established that portion of the deck, it goes down to trimming the fat and building a good, ratio. Do you want to draw the card as a part of your combo? Do you need multiples to make sure a card is resolvable, like Ojama Magic? Then you can play 2 or play 1 or play 3 if you want to draw it. What's going on in blue? Do you want to draw it? Pink, why is it even in here? Literally, why is it even in here? Do you want to draw red or not? I don't fucking know. 2 is so random. Do you want to draw Ojama Magic? I don't know. Duo? I don't fucking know. I was so hopeful. The future Ojama was in the hands of a Poli or a Poli. A Poli had my dreams in their hands and they crushed it. I must crush their will in return. Despicable. You have no right to call yourself an Ojama fan. I recommend rethinking this. If you want to see my Ojama decks that I offer on my YouTube channel, what I think the 2 best way to play it is. The third option is the Tri-Brigade Sprite Ojama version, but that one is a little boring. Those are the options you have. I am open to new ones, and if Muddy Muddragon is a concept you want to go with, make sure it at least fleshes out better. White Forest cards do that. Hey, and you know what else works with White Forest cards? Ojama Magic. So if you want to take a concept, flesh that one out. I just had that idea. Maybe that's something we can do on my channel later. At least that has more synergy than this. I'm gonna leave it at that, because this deck is a big rotten turd. Oh God. All right, that was today's episode of Deckless Nightmares. We started off so good. That Voice doesn't mean a cash deck. I was worried it was gonna be a hodgepodge of nonsense, but it ended up being somewhat cohesive, and it had an actual idea, actual logic. We were able to expand upon it, and I'm happy where we ended up. Good, constructive deck building. But then we got to 2 nonsensical ideas that were not even well thought out, and we have garbage. So normally we say, which deck do you think was the best and which one was the worst? We have 2 steaming turds in our hand, which I never want to see in my life. Ryu-Ge Diva, if you can call it a deck. And just this Ojama. Throw both aside. The clear winner is, it's no fucking doubt the Voiceless Azamina cash deck. Which deck was worse? In concept, probably the Ojamas, but by design, I don't fucking know. They're both horrible. Let me know what you guys think. Which deck do you think was the worst? By construction, not by concept, because concept, the Ojama deck is miserable, but both are, to be honest. Hopefully you guys can do better next episode.